Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Somatic Toolkit. So, in full transparency, this is not the live training. The live training that happened earlier today was amazing. However, I forgot to hit record, but I promised everyone a replay. So, I'm going to do my best to cover what we covered. Of course, we had one of the ladies who was on the call live. We took her through a somatic experience. It was incredible, amazing, beautiful to watch. I, of course, cannot recreate that again, but instead, I will give you a case study, an example of a client I worked with, what I did, how I took her through it. So hopefully you can get a pretty good idea on how these tools work. So I'm hoping for all of you who are watching this replay, or maybe you're watching this and you were on earlier and now you're getting this second dose, that there is something that you will take away, that you will learn something, get a new perspective or a shift. That is my goal for you. My promise, right, is that you will walk away with actionable tools that you could implement starting today. If you're new to my world, welcome. Sorry, I keep going like this because I feel like there's something in my teeth. I'm Rachel Friedman. And I've been doing this type of work for over 25 years now. I know, how's that possible? I look so young. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, I started in grad school with a master's in clinical social work, and I dove right in from the psychotherapy side, worked as a psychotherapist for several years, and then stumbled into yoga, absolutely fell in love, started to get some really incredible healing myself, and dove headfirst. Probably did a training every year for the first 10 years, and then slowed my roll a little bit. But I stumbled in somatic work about a decade ago. I was in Sean Korn. If you haven't heard of Sean Korn, you should definitely look her up. Incredible yogi and social activist. I was in one of her teacher training programs at the time. She was running them here and there, and flew to Chicago, 100-hour course. It was incredible. We were doing a session. We were talking, and I somehow got talking to her about a trauma I had from as a child on my left side. She really recommended I get in touch with a somatic therapist. So I did. It was eye-opening and changed a lot of things for me, a lot of really incredible things in my life. Of course, did get a bit messy. But have to say now, being on the other side, I'm grateful for the mess. Even ended up tattooing a lotus flower on my forearm. You can see it there. Some of you may know lotuses, they grow from the mud. And that's kind of how I felt like I had really grown out from the mud. So I am not just, a therapist, a coach, um, a yoga teacher, um, a studio owner. I am someone who embodies this work, practices this work, uses this work daily on myself. I think that's important to know because it's very easy to learn something. It's another thing to actually take that and use it yourself and be a living, breathing example of it. That's why I believe in this work so much. It's so close to my heart. So I'm going to guess that you're here for one of two reasons. Either one, you are a teacher, and yoga teacher, or even a coach or a therapist, and people come to you with something that we would quote say is trauma, and you don't feel confident enough to help them navigate through it. So you either send them out to someone else, or you freeze, or you kind of somewhat fumble your way through it, but you're lacking that confidence in yourself to be able to navigate that process. And so you shy away from it, and you don't want to anymore. You want to be able to hold that space for people. You want to be able to go to that place with people. And there's a part of you that's calling to do this work. Then there's the other group of people that over the years I've come in contact with, and I've been that person. I've also been this person who felt like, oh my God, the market is saturated with healers, with yoga teachers, with therapists, with coaches. How do I separate myself out amongst all these people? I want to have a very special niched skill set. And so you're here for that reason. And both are beautiful, and both, you're welcome. And then there's that very small other percentage of people who are going to be watching this, and maybe you're on this journey just yourself. You're listening to this or wanting to dive into this work deeper just for yourself. And I really honor and acknowledge you. You are very special to me. One of our clients who went through the last 2 rounds, I think I can say her name because she's going to do a live with me next week, Marcy. That was her. And I'm so proud of Marcy because she dove into this, even though most of the people in the group were teachers, coaches, or therapists, and she wasn't there yet. She wasn't even sure if she wanted to be there. She did the work, always volunteering, very open, very vulnerable, and got so much healing from it. Now she is. Now she's stepping into that role herself, putting herself out there and helping to support others. So wherever you're at, you're exactly where you should be. And I am grateful that you're taking time out of your day to spend it here with me. All right, so let's jump in. Let me tell you a little bit. I'm going to say the name Sarah. Her real name is not Sarah, but for privacy's sake. So she was teaching. Sorry, I'm petting my dog at the same time so he doesn't start barking. She was working as an accountant, corporate accounting, working long days, basically 8 to 5, 8 to 6. And then in the evenings, she was teaching yoga classes. And she absolutely loved teaching. But she had this kind of nagging feeling that she could not take her students further than the asana. And she really wanted to. One day, one of her clients, Amy, came up to her and she was talking about her experience with anxiety. And she had this like craving, like, I want to help Amy. I know I can. She had some tools that she felt would be helpful, but she felt like she was just missing that confidence. She was missing that certainty that, it was safe for her to take Amy down this road. And that's really what led her to me. So I forget how we got connected, but she found out about my program. She dove in, she did the certification. And the coolest part is she started with Amy, offering her sessions and watching her change. I call us as change makers. And the best part is Amy got such incredible results with Sarah that she told one of her friends. Her friend hired her. And then her friend, she told her friend, and she literally has basically a full roster now doing this work. And really, that's the magic. And that's how powerful it is. I share that so wherever you're at, you can see maybe yourself a little bit in this story, in this situation. So best part yet is she recently reached out to me and told me that she handed in her resignation for her 9 to 5 job. And she's actually replaced her income, very stable income, with this work. And she's doing what she loves now. And not sitting behind a desk all day, staring at cranking numbers, instead supporting, helping people. And that means a lot to me as one of her mentors to be able to watch her and step into that role. And then there was Sherry. Love Sherry to death. She's a wellness coach. Heart, so big, so huge. But she was full of a lot of doubt, a lot of uncertainty, really didn't trust herself that she had enough skills to really guide anyone through anything traumatic. And she knew underneath a lot of her weight loss clients' goals was trauma, because there's so much research, so much science that shows it. So she dove into this program so she could be able to do that work. So she wouldn't be having, the doubt, the insecurity, and she could show up confidently. And the coolest thing is now she does. She shows up. She knows that she can trust her gut. She knows she can trust her client and her client's body to show her the path of where they're going. And it can be this beautiful dance, this beautiful collaboration together. So whether you're here because, like I said earlier, you're wanting to add this to like kind of help yourself stand out more in, the market, or you're doing this to help increase your confidence in yourself and your skill set, either one, it's perfect. You're in the exact right place. So I know some of you might feel like right now you're letting your students down, but I want you to just take a moment and put your hand on your heart and remind yourself you're doing the best you can with what you know. That's why you're here, right? And my goal is to help you gain more knowledge, more wisdom, more experience, so you can actually have even a bigger impact. Some of the things that happen that I've noticed for people as they dive into this work is they can really show up confidently with anything that their clients come to them with. They're not going to refer out anymore, right? They are like, yes, I can help you. Whether it's a big T, a big trauma, or a little one, does not matter. They I've noticed people who dive into this, they become the thought leaders, right? They become the leaders in their industry, earning respect, not just from their students and their clients, but also colleagues. Colleagues start referring them, and then other health practitioners, right? Other therapists, chiropractors, doctors, they will go to you because they know you provide results, which is really key on a personal level, right? I know I get to feel so deeply satisfied every time I see someone make a change. It's like it's just speaking deep into my soul. The confidence I have, it's changed my life. I mean, it allows me to show up and do this work, but it really allows me to stand up for all the different things I believe in, which I think is so important. Um, and you will get to feel like you're truly aligned with your dharma, your path. That's important, guys. I don't want you to diminish that. So there's 4 stages that I have found change makers go through, right? And I point out these stages so you can self-identify. We can't start to pave a path where we're going if we don't know where we're at. Now, the first stage is the hesitant helper. And this person feels anxious when students come to them or mention trauma or pain, maybe knows basic yoga, or has some ground level foundational skills to truly help people, but does not feel like they can go deeper than surface level. Has very generic responses to avoid any of these complex cases. And they definitely are questioning whether, am I really even making a difference? So take a moment and pause and notice, am I in this stage? And this is not to shame yourself, right? This is to self-identify. I'm writing a book right now actually about unshaming. And so none of this work is meant to shame you. All of this work is just a place of awareness. Again, where am I at? Where do I want to be? The second stage, the knowledge seeker. So this is someone who's actively studying maybe somatic principles and other techniques, starting to understand that body-mind connection on a deeper level, has built the foundational tools, but still does not have that confidence, that certainty when it comes to applying them. Very excited about the new possibilities, but when it comes to execution, finds themselves staggering and finding themselves holding themselves back, and they can't quite figure out sometimes maybe even why. All right, the third phase. This is the emerging expert. So this is what you see as we're getting to. This is where we want to start to be, right? It's successfully applying the somatic technique, seeing initial positive results with their clients, growing confidence in handling whatever people bring to them, and then really just starting to develop their own unique style, right? Blending the things that maybe they've learned from their mentors, whether it be me or someone else, with other things that they have in their toolbox, other life experiences. And they're really beginning to attract clients and students who are seeking their specialty, their expertise. I'm sure we all want to be here. I've been in every single one of these phases, FYI. So the last phase is the trusted guide. And this I would hope for all of us. We all want to land in this place. We're going to be working towards this place and then evolving with it as we go, right? I'm still constantly signing up for things. Where can I learn more? How can I add more? How can it complement? It's just that's part of being a human, right? Being alive, at least my hope. So the trusted guide confidently handles complex trauma and pain cases, right? So for example, I have a client right now, wonderful woman whose husband actually died in her lap of a heart attack. So we're processing through that trauma. Another client who lots of sexual abuse as a child, has put on a lot of weight, way over 300 pounds, really at risk to her health, and working through body shame, working through that trauma, because just putting her on a diet, that's failed time and time again, because that's not even what it's about, right? We wouldn't know that if we don't go into that deeper work. has developed deep intuition, and actually can just be with the client and kind of through watching them, listening to them, being in co-regulation with them, can actually intuitively know what this person needs. And this person who is the trusted guide is regularly receives referrals from other professionals, from their clients, and is creating transformative experiences time and time again. This person feels fulfilled knowing they can help anyone who comes their way, and really is a leader in their community. And this is really the place I hope you all land. Wherever you are right now, though, just honor it, acknowledge it, and then let's shake it off. So get up, maybe stand around. All right, and then take a deep breath in. Let it go. All right, making sound is part of a somatic experience. So often shove that part down, closes down the energy on our throat chakra. All right, so when it comes to the somatic work, there are three main pillars: witnessing, the tools. And tools, you might be like, well, what do you mean by tools, Rachel? I mean, using things like breath work, pranayama, asana, movement, sound. These tools help us understand this person's experience on a deeper level. They also, what I say, unflower the wisdom of what we need to integrate, which is the third phase. Integration is key in order to create sustainable change. Now, I can't go deep into all three of these today. That's the 100-hour course, my friends. But I promised you I'd give you some tools. I also told you I would tell you the biggest mistake I see healers making. And while we were on the live call, I decided there were two. So let me share with you that first. So I would say the number one thing is not matching energy. What does that mean? Let me give you an example. A client comes in extremely anxious, and you're like, okay, let's just sit down and breathe. That is shaming them for the way they feel. I know that's not your intention, but that's what it's going to feel like to them, to their subconscious. We need to match that energy. So one of the things I might do is say, all right, lots of energy here, let's move it. And I might just have them start shaking, dancing, lifting their knees. I might have them do some tapping. Couple different techniques that I would pick depending on that person. Knowing that person, if it's the first time meeting them, I'm going to start a little subtler, and I might just do some easy bilateral stimulation, which we're not going into today. But that's really important, because what happens when we don't match the energy, like I said, is the client actually feels not witnessed. Subconsciously, there's shame that starts flooding the system, and they shut down. And without that safety in place, they can't be vulnerable. They can't really share. They can't get in touch with what's really going on. And then that's where we end up not getting our clients' results, not being able to help them, not being able to navigate it, and kind of feeling stuck. I don't want that for any of you. So take a moment and check in with yourself. If you've been doing this, I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to help you see that we want to stay very present with the person in front of us and get to know different phases of energy, get to know different types of energy, so we can match it and know what to do in that situation. Number two, it is not witnessing someone, not really witnessing their experience, instead coming into a session with theories and methods and pathologizing. It's a lot of what our Western culture does. It pathologizes people. It says, you have anxiety, that means this. But that's not the case always, guys. Actually, almost ever. We need to stop pathologizing people and saying that there's something wrong with them, that they're broken and needing fixing, and instead seeing people as whole and understanding that inside of that symptom, inside of that sensation, is just information. It is wisdom, it is medicine that helps us guide a person actually towards making the changes they want, healing, feeling better. So if you are coming from the therapy world like me, I want to encourage you to take all those theories, put them down for a moment, and let yourself instead witness and just really be with the experience of your client. All right. So since I don't have anyone live with me right now and I'm just talking to a screen, I'm going to give you a case study. And again, I apologize you didn't get to see it live in action. It was amazing. However, I'm human and I make mistakes. So picture, we'll call her Emma, 42-year-old marketing executive, rushing into her somatic yoga session with me. She's 10 minutes late. She's clutching her phone and apologizing profusely over and over and over. Shoulders are like this, all hunched up toward her ears, jaw so clenched. And she's speaking a million miles per hour and feels like, to me, she can barely catch her breath. She says, I'm so sorry I'm late. Work has been insane. 3 major campaigns about to launch. My team's understaffed. My daughter's having issues at school, and I can't remember the last time I slept through the night. My doctor said my blood pressure is through the roof. I keep getting these awful tension headaches. I've tried regular yoga. I've tried meditation apps, but my mind just won't shut off. I can't seem to relax no matter what I do. Now, as she speaks, I notice her hand unconsciously rubbing her neck, right? Like back here. Her feet are tapping restlessly on the floor, and her breath is shallow in her upper chest. It's not even dropping into her belly. So when I'm asking her about what she feels, the tension in her body, she lets out a short laugh and says, everywhere, but specifically points to her shoulders, her jaw, and her stomach, describing it as a feeling like I'm wearing armor and I can't take it off. So where do we go? What do we do? Okay, step one. Remember, we don't want to shame her, so I'm not going to tell her to sit down and just start breathing. I'm going to orient her. Start gently and slowly by recognizing that her nervous system is already in a super heightened state. So here's how I would approach it. First, I'd help her land in this space. So rather jumping into big movements or complex practices, I'm going to invite her to simply take a moment and tell her to just shake her hands. Shake, 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 flick, flick, flick. And then I'm going to tell her, have a seat. Have a seat for a moment. Place her hands on her belly and give her system permission to arrive and settle. From there, I'm going to guide her through a very simple body scale, but with a crucial difference from standard meditation apps, right? Instead of trying to relax, because we know that that is not going to work, it's also going to make her feel that she's unsafe, and likely even cause more tension. I'm going to invite her to simply just notice the sensations that are present. Notice the weight of her body in the chair, the places where she feels activation and tension. And I'm going to encourage her not to change it, but just bring some gentle awareness to it. Once she's more present, I'd introduce a simple, very simple pendulation between tension and support. Tension and support, and just noticing, just observing the two. I might say something like, notice the tension in your shoulders. And now bring your attention to the support of the chair beneath you. Moving slowly between these two, right? Between the tension and feeling the support. Look, guys, this initial approach serves a purpose. It helps her nervous system recognize it's in a safe place. Safe space. Oh my God. It builds her capacity to track her bodily sensations. It shows her she doesn't need to fix or force relaxation because that never works. And it gives her a taste, a small taste of how regulation feels inside her body. Now, that's just step one. Step two in this process for this client is going to make a connection with the sensations in her body. Have her describe these sensations to me, not as feelings. And that's really important because often we do describe things as feelings, not as sensations. Okay. And it's very difficult for a lot of people, but I'm going to want to know, is it hot? Is it cold? Is it fast? Is it strong? Is it tight? Things like that. And then step three, we're going to pick one sensation and we're going to explore it. Hold a lot of space for it, get to know it. I want to know it on a deeper level. I want to get to know the sensation because I truly believe that sensation, that her body is trying to communicate something. Step four, the sensation she's feeling in her body. We have to take it out of the body and put it into her hand so I can see it. That's going to allow her shape shift it into something. She's going to start to make some movement, if maybe not. Okay. And then what she's going to do is take that and we're going to amplify it and amplify it and amplify it. Whatever it is, whatever shape it is her hands are made, whatever hands are doing. Why am I amplifying it, guys? Because anything that is ignored in the body, not given attention to, amplifies, right? That's how disease comes about. We ignore it. We ignore the pain in our shoulder. Eventually, it becomes something more. We ignore that, cramp in our hip. Eventually, it becomes more. So the last phase of this, once we get to know that, we get to understand what is that sensation trying to communicate, is we've got to do a little inquiry around, right? We got to ask some questions, get to know the messages that sensation is trying to articulate. It's from that where we can start to integrate the knowledge of the body into the mind, and we can figure out next steps. I don't know next steps, though, without her body telling me, communicating what it needs, what it craves, what it desires. So you can see in this example, guys, we touch on witnessing, right? Not here to fix it. We meet her where she's at. We're going to be using the somatic journey. That's the tool. Likely, I would be using other tools too once we start to uncover. Might be using some breath. I might be using some movement. I might use asana even to help her explore deeper. And that last piece, the integration piece, asking those open-ended questions to get the client to tap into the wisdom that's from within. And then taking that knowledge, that information with her as she steps out of the session and giving her actual tools to reinforce it, to integrate it until we meet again. This is the work, guys. We've got to be able to make a deep, powerful connection to hearing what this body wants to communicate. It has gifts. It has things that it wants to say. And often what it's saying is not what you need to release, but sometimes it's saying, how do I need more of this in my life? Where is this showing up lacking outside of my life? So it's showing up powerfully in my body. But if I were to reinforce it outside of my body, some of that would soften and dissipate. All right, it's powerful. So this work with Emma's case, what we did is we ended up connecting to her clenched jaw. So she put the jaw in her hands, and like this, it was fisted up in her hands, and it was like her knuckles were actually even turning white. And then her upper body grew tighter and tighter too. Until she could no longer hold it because we just kept amplifying it and staying there. She said, if I remember, that this reminded her of her life, that she was holding everything so tightly together that if she let one thing go a little bit, she was afraid everything was going to explode and just crumble to pieces. And she said she noticed that there was a lot of shame around that, a lot of shame that she couldn't keep everything together, or that, if she let that one piece go, that everything was going to collapse. I asked her what she thought her body was trying to communicate. And is there somewhere in life she needed more of this tightness? And we discovered that she had very few boundaries up right now. She's just saying yes, 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 yes to everyone, yes to everything at work, yes to her family, to her kids. It was like just constant yes. And she was never saying yes to herself, though. And because she wasn't literally ever saying yes to herself and yes to everyone else, she was literally, it was like an oxygen. She was like taking care of everyone, no oxygen mask for herself. What we learned is that tightness was telling her, I'm going to keep gripping until you put up some walls, put up some structure in your life. And so that's what we started to do. We started to create some structure for her. We started to create some boundary. And in the process, we started to unshame the shame she was feeling for not being able to keep it all together. We used some movement, we used sound, we used breath. We used all the pieces, guys. So we want our clients to be able to tap into these pieces of themselves, to be free authentically, to be themselves at the end of the day. We must learn how to access that wisdom that's growing inside of them and then integrate it into their daily life. Awareness is great and it's a great start, but integration is the key to sustainable change, making this stuff stick and last. So if you want to be able to learn how to do this, take someone through a somatic journey, be able to know, when do I, prescribe different pranayams? When do I use different asanas to help support this person? How do I really hold someone, who maybe just lost a loved one or has experienced some serious trauma, then the somatic certification, the yoga certification, it is for you guys. I promise this work is very powerful. And it does not just connect people to like change, it connects them back to themselves. They get to actually be themselves. And that there's nothing as beautiful as that gift. This is a 3-month embodiment program. So if you're looking for something with theories where you learn a theory and you learn steps and you practice it, it may not be for you. We learn tools and how to use them, and then we embody them, and then we make them your own. We do this by doing 3 virtual retreats. There are 3 Saturdays. You spend a day together virtually. And then we practice it weekly in our round robin sessions. The practice, you get feedback. You're practicing with your peers to reinforce what you've learned. But this is not reading a textbook and learning it that way. This is doing the work. This is we're working with the body, so we must use our bodies to learn this process. You go first, my friend. So you experience every exercise and then you practice it over and over and over, just like anything, right? In order to learn a skill, it requires a lot of repetition. That is how we gain the confidence to get up, show up in the world, and do this work boldly. What else can I tell you? There's a bunch of videos in the portal to help reinforce your learning, to help support you. At the end of the certification, you are going to feel like you can take on anything. I really, truly believe that. If you're a yoga teacher, you get 100 hours with Yoga Alliance of CEC credits. What else can I say? I think that is it. I can't remember what else we covered. Of course, it's hard when it's live. Things just flow through you. But if this work sounds like your next step, it sounds like exactly what you've been craving and wanting, I want to encourage you to apply. Apply today. Today is February 13th. You'll get $500 off by just listening to the end of this recording. Apply. If it's a good fit, we'll get you enrolled. We do have payment plans if that is something that you are concerned about. All right, I will make sure at the bottom of this email with this video, there is a link to apply. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Reach out to me. I hope you have a fantastic day. Hope that you walked away learning something, maybe experienced something new, a new perspective, a new shift, or saw how we can learn how to connect with this body, and how the deeper you go, the more you explore with it, the more you take what you're feeling, move with it, breathe with it, shape shift into it. It has a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom to offer you. All right, my friends, have a fantastic rest of your day. Till next time, namaste.